Hey team, good to see you all back. I'm excited to start this year, new challenges, but I think we can overcome those challenges and continue to be successful. Today I'm going to talk to you about tips for successful remote teaching. First tip we're going to discuss is materials. What do you need? Can you reach them? Are they at arm's length? When you use the materials, can the student see them clearly? Second tip will be your background. Is it distracting? Is it busy? Will it keep the students engaged? Third will be student engagement. How to make sure the students are interacting throughout the lesson. How they raise their hand. How to answer questions. Do they wait? Do you call on them and they answer questions? They mute themselves. So we're going to talk about engagement and we're going to talk about expectations. All right? I hope you guys enjoy it and I hope it helps. Peace. Tip number 1, materials. What do you need? Lesson plans, unit plans, manipulatives, markers, pens. You need to make sure that you have everything in arm's length so that you don't have to leave the computer screen. Students should be able to see you at all times and know that you're watching. Also be mindful if you're giving a presentation, what your screen looks like. No one needs to see what you're searching. We don't need your search bar to be packed with unnecessary things that you won't need for that lesson. So be mindful of that because those can be distracting. Slow down when you're teaching. Make sure students are engaged and they're understanding what you're saying. If you're using a whiteboard to write, make sure that they can see what you're writing on the whiteboard. Make sure it's close enough so that the students can understand. They're not distracted or not frustrated because they can't see what you're writing. Along with materials, that particular day you may plan on showing a video. It's important to make sure before you show the video that the video works. So you're not in the class trying to download or figure out why it's not working or why the students can't hear it. That goes along with materials. Time to write down things you may need so you can brainstorm and really be prepared for that first day of school, especially remote learning. All right, materials. Right now we're going to share different ideas we used in the past to ensure the students stay focused. We're not ripping and running looking for materials at the last minute. Are your materials in the basket? So right now we're going to share different ideas. All right, tip number 2, your environment. What that looks like. Are you at the table? Are you sitting at the table with maybe family who's sitting there as well? Just know that the students can often hear what's in your background. It can be distracting. So try to find a nice quiet place to teach, a nice cozy corner that you can set up and have a clear background. If you're using materials for your background, make sure the materials aren't overwhelming. It's not too busy. Make sure the materials you use are materials that you can use for your lesson. They're not just there for no reason. It's important to keep students engaged. And at this moment, with this being new to everyone, every little thing can be a distraction. Another thing to consider when you are thinking about your background or your environment, are you standing? Are you sitting? Think about it because you want to be comfortable throughout your lesson. You don't want to have to adjust the camera. You want it to be on you the whole time. You have to adjust your camera and that leaves time for distractions. All right, I hope that helps. I hope you guys are starting to think about your environment, think about your background and how you can be successful. Your background is important. It can be extremely distracting for students while you're teaching your lesson. So right now, I'd like to talk about strategies that teachers have used to ensure that students focus on them and not their background. All right, tip number 3, student engagement. How can we keep students engaged? It's important to think about different strategies we can use to make sure students are engaged and they're enjoying their time learning with you. With this being remote learning, there often are distractions within the home. How can we make sure students are focused? How can we give them kudos if they're staying focused, if they're turning their work in? If you see them on camera, they're not laying down, they're not rolling on the floor, give them credit, shout them out. It's important to keep them engaged and keep them motivated to continue to stay focused. So right now, we're going to list out some of the things that we can use to keep students engaged. Last semester, I saw a lot of teachers with a lot of great ideas. So let's share.